Hey Sanju, how are you?
Very good.
I
Very good.
just wanted to understand what's going on with the Indian economy and how it is progressing for this 2020.
Okay, I'll tell you a little brief history of what is going on with the Indian economy because this is like people are confused about what is going on. Uh, first, for the audience here who may not know me, hello friends, my name is Sanjeev Sharma. I'm a contributing writer at Seeking Alpha for last 10 years. I have a track record of accurately predicting the US stock market for last 10 years. I have also written a book. It's called The Five Core Methods of Innovation. So today I'll explain you about what is going on in the Indian economy, what a little history of what is going on. See, when India became independent in 1947, Jawaharlal Nehru became the first prime minister. He went to the Indian Statistical Institute in Calcutta. He spent some time there trying to understand the complete picture of Indian economy. Soon he realized that the situation in India is not much better than when it was a few hundred years back. That means the demand of Indians, the Indian population, was much more than the production India could do. The quality of products which were coming from Europe were much better than the products being manufactured in India. Of course, people will look for the best type of products, and if you're not able to produce in your own country, you will import it from other countries. And on a global scale, it's nothing but a barter system. If you are buying from others, you have to sell something back to them. And then he realized that we don't have enough production to or quality of products that we can pay back or buy sell something to other countries. So Jawaharlal Nehru said, in this scenario, if we continue to allow consumerism at a rapid scale, soon it will be the same problem which happened when the East India Company came. That means we will be importing a lot of stuff, we will not be able to export much. India will have to go out and then go for loans. And when you go for loans, then you have to listen to the terms of other people. So Jawaharlal Nehru started the so-called Nehru economic model, where he said reduce the consumption, reduce the demand, and the demand of people was reduced. He said try to utilize whatever is being produced within the country, created some kind of borders that it was becoming difficult for people to import things into the country, and people were kind of asked to utilize whatever is there in this same country. And that worked a little well for around 20 years or so, uh, until you can say something dramatic happened when Indira Gandhi became the prime minister. When Indira Gandhi became the prime minister, a few things happened. First, TV became popular. TV was introduced in 1970s, and with TV, the consumerism increased. People saw new things on TV. Everybody wanted new things, right? And then came the color TV in the 80s. And after that, the consumerism in the country expanded like crazy. Everybody wanted to have a color TV, a VCR, electronic gadgets, music systems, which were not being produced in India. So the situation came to such the situation was so bad those days that the government of India was giving $500 to one person to travel abroad once in 3 years. So you can go abroad from India, travel all around the world. All you can get is $500. Rupee was not convertible, and people started playing many tricks with it. For example, people will find somebody in their neighborhood and say, "Hey, you go abroad because of the $500. You buy this electronic gadgets, bring it back, we'll sell it, we'll make money." That became kind of a business, and soon the government of India ran out of dollars. In 1991, the situation was such that the government had money left for only a month of oil imports. And at that time, P.V. Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister of India, Manmohan Singh was the Finance Minister, and they had to think what to do. The Indian government went to Bank of England to get some loans, and the Bank of England said, "We don't trust you will be able to pay us back. You have to give us something back in return, like kind of mortgage your gold assets." And Indian government had to send gold assets from their treasury. So that was kind of a shameful event. And after that, the government had to think what to do. So Manmohan Singh at that time, who was the finance minister, he said, "Let us open this economy. Let us remove these artificial borders. If anybody is able to export anything, let them allow." So while export was controlled earlier, he made it free to export, and a lot of people started, exporting all kind of things. And similarly, import was also made easier, and a lot of people started exporting anything they could. The result of that was, for example, food. Food was cheap in India, it became very expensive because you could now export onions, you could now export rice. So, all those things which were earlier, the consumers were only the people of India. When you started exporting them, so like basmati rice, it became expensive in India. Onions, it became expensive in India, So, a lot of things became, inflation started increasing. But one good thing, or you can say, country was lucky that the IT industry picked up, and the IT industry brought so many dollars in the next 30 years that the Indian government didn't have to worry much about it. So even though the demand was increasing because of the dollars brought in by the IT industry, which picked up, Indian government did not have to worry much about it, and then India progressed greatly after that. Now, in the last few years, certain things happen which are impacting the Indian economy. One episode was, like, a lot of you all know, a lot of companies started moving to India, establishing their offices, starting investing in India. A major problem happened, episode happened in the Vodafone case. There was a case where, to be short, the tax authorities in India went after a company for certain taxes, and that company hired an attorney, and in the Indian Supreme Court, that company won the case that they are not supposed to pay any taxes as per the current laws. But what happened was, the Indian government went back to the parliament. The finance minister of India at that time, he went back to the parliament and changed the laws, kind of backdated the laws for almost, the backdate was almost from 1960s. That means you have to pay tax in in those conditions, even if a transaction like that happened 30-40 years back. That means he changed the rules of the game suddenly, and this was a shock to a lot of corporations. And now corporations were worried. All over the world, large corporations worried that if the government of India can backdate laws like that, should we invest in India? Because you are investing in India based on certain conditions, certain laws, and now suddenly you change the laws and backdate them 40 years. That means you can't trust the system there. People go to a system, to a country based on some trust, and that trust was lost. So a lot of companies started thinking whether they should invest in India or not. Ultimately, the companies are there to make money. They are not there just because they love India. They want to make some money. And if you are changing laws like that, it was problematic. That is one thing which impacted India. Secondly, India was a good destination for outsourcing labor because the cost of labor in India was low in the 80s and 90s and even early 2000. But now, if you look at the cost of labor, it has increased a lot. Finding good people are no more cheap in India because Indian economy has grown, and it is no more that advantageous. Thirdly, there is a wave of anti-globalization all over the world, of which President Trump is one example, who has been saying that he wants to bring back all the jobs from other countries back to his own country. All those things have impacted the Indian economy. Plus, another thing which is important is that the government of India also has realized that the Indian economy cannot be solely based on consumerism. We have to produce. So we can, like, government of India can keep increasing, increasing the demand side, but then they will be in trouble after some time if they are not able to produce enough to export. and therefore there is not much help from the government, though they are trying. It is not the same kind of effort they are making to increase the demand, because they want to give more focus on the production, and that will take time for Indians to come up with companies, products uh, which are basically of the international level. It will take some time. So those are some of the important things which have negatively impacted the Indian economy. Yes, we can always blame things like demonetization that has been that has negatively impacted small scale industries and small companies and businesses. Yes, that is an important factor. But in an overall context, these things have led India to a situation where the economy is weak, and it looks like it will take at least some major decision, some major changes before they can again pick it up. Okay, thank you, Venkat.